Conchita Niedermeyer Stadium in Ottawa Hills. Boys soccer on the BCSN Now app and BCSNNation.com. It's the Ottawa Hills Green Bears ranked #1 in the state of Ohio in Division III. Take on the St. John's Jesuit Titans, and away we go. Ottawa Hills in green and black, St. John's in the white shirts and socks, the navy shorts. Mason Lowry, Chris Black, great to have you with us. Chris, matchup like this, heck of a lot of fun every year.
Oh, it certainly is. I've had the fortune to watch both these teams a number of times this season. So, been looking forward to this. Ottawa Hills scoring a bucket load of goals against a number of foes. Division III, Division I does not matter. So they're not punching above their weight today. They've come to compete. So it's going to be fun to watch what they do. And St. John's right in the ship after the Northview issue they had just a week or so ago. And they're looking to continue their run they've had here of recent form.
Walker Kite knocking that ball forward for Iggy Garcia-Mata to chase after. Ben Denecki off his line. We're used to seeing Greg McElroy use two different keepers and alternate between Denecki and Luis Fuentes in each half. Luis Fuentes not here today. He's at a family wedding, we're told. So we would think it's Ben's job for the duration. Probably at that part of the year part of the year anyway, I'll get it right eventually, where you want to settle on one over another ideally.
You give a chance. Obviously, they settle in, and then this way too, if one does settle in that top spot at some point, then the one that comes in the backup has had plenty of opportunity already, and they'll know how to respond if they are called upon. You never want to use your backup keeper, but you always want to know they're there and that they're ready.
This is Danny Salim on the right flank, trying to work on Emilio Duran, a freshman. That's sent into the back post. It's a tricky ball to deal with. Ian Morton Wiskin couldn't quite get to it. Ends up behind for a goal kick. Good to see Graham Tunis back out there. Ottawa Hills last time out went on the road and beat state-ranked Dayton Christian 4-0, with 3 of those goals coming in the first 15 minutes. Graham Tunis had kind of a bizarre injury in warm-ups. There's apparently a lot of trees in the area around the field that Dayton Christian uses. He was stabbed in the head by a tree branch. He needed a couple of stitches to close it up, but he's back today, thank goodness. Nate Baer, the Ottawa Hills head coach, was telling us they had to alternate a junior varsity keeper in the first half. He'd already played both halves in the JV game. Needed to use an outfield player, Will Bursch, back in goal in the second half. It's Chase Davis at the back. To Joe Colella, the other center back. It's Morton Wiskin chesting it into space, trying to get around Adam Ian, and he does. Morton Wiskin has plenty of pace. Jack O'Brien trying to watch that out. In the end, he has to concede the throw. There's Joey Apanunu, scorer of an absolutely sensational goal against St. Francis last time we saw the Titans. Just dancing through the night defense in the last minute of that match. Garcia-Mata on the turn, blocked by Salim. Adel Kanan will try and get there, and does. Salim, bit of support, terrific turn. No chance to get the shot away. 4 Ottawa Hills defenders around him. Knocked to Jacob Rashid in the box. Couldn't do anything with it, though.
Yeah, we've seen them early in the year on the Ottawa Hills side defend with numbers back, and then leaving, it seems like usually John Kite, who's more their kind of striker or the target forward or central forward player. He's the one patrolling up high. They're looking to get out through him. But they'll commit a lot of numbers back and really try to make you have to break them down or get a skip pass to try and move the ball. It's kind of similar to Northview, but a little bit different. Saw it work so effectively for Northview against Anthony Wayne, which really extended that game all the way up to the last minute of the game. Get the game winner from the Anthony Wayne side.
Stated for Kanan, so big and powerful. O'Brien touches that out. St. John's got a couple of big bruisers they can use up top, but go about 6'3", 6'4", and Kanan and Andrew Allen as well. See Danny Salim play up there occasionally too. It's Drew Hoffman. He's dropped back into midfield today for Ottawa Hills. Number 16 has 12 goals, 9 assists this year, so a terrific start to the campaign.
really look at the St. John's front line, the back line, and if you didn't really know who was going which way yet, you could get confused. Generally, you see a lot of the bigger backs than forwards, but they've got a typical high target and Kanaan that really can pull people with them, literally and figuratively.
Apanunu shot. Tunis tried to play the bounce, could not do so, and it bounces in. So unlucky for Ottawa Hills. St. John's takes the lead after 5 minutes.
I think Ottawa Hills thought it was going to be just a routine bounce and collect. You've got to stay with the runners, whether you think your goalkeeper's going to have it or not, because you don't even want them to be able to tee up your goalkeeper either, so you got to stay with that run. As you can shield to the ball back to your goalkeeper, so that's an option there as well, but of course, sometimes you just misjudge a hop.
We're giving that to Apanunu then for the shot that took the big deflection. I don't think there was another St. John's touch or anything.
No, I don't think so either. I guess that depends on your statistical scoring. I mean, depending on, I guess as long as you stick with a strategy all year long. I've definitely seen shadier goals counted for somebody at a district room.
Yeah,
or
very true.
Well, this person's closest, so they get one. Or they've had a rough year, so we'll give that goal to them. No, that's not how it works. It's not, no.
You sort of saw it developing as soon as it
him or
spun
own
up.
goal.
As soon as it spun up into
Yeah.
the air, you saw Graham Tunis stay on his line and then decide to come out. It was like, if this is allowed to hit the turf, and we've seen plenty of funny bounces here at Ottawa Hills over the years, you thought this may not end well.
Yeah, and you think of as a goalkeeper, if your defenders aren't going towards it, I couldn't hear if he had called for it or not either, but defenders aren't going for it, you're going to have to go out there and try to make a play. You certainly don't want to be set up. We talked about the big target players that St. John's has. You certainly don't want a guy like a Kanaan to get a run on that ball and bring it down and drive it through your head from 2 feet away. You've got to make a decision if you're going to come out or not, and Tunis did, and it just didn't work out for him that time.
And Rashid bundled over by Iggy Garcia Mata. He hasn't scored this year, Iggy, but he does have 4 assists, including a couple in that Dayton Christian win. St. John's 5-2-1, including that weird loss to Northview a couple of weeks back where they conceded 4 times in 13 minutes. Free kick just out of the reach of Dion Vardarella up there. Vardarella maybe 5'6", roughly the same size as Abdi Faki was last year. Maybe not the ideal target on a long free kick into the box.
Yeah, he can definitely win some balls in the air, but he's got the pace to get under it. But it's been fun to watch his role change slightly. Joey Apanunu's role changed slightly. How they play off of each other now. I was actually talking to another coaching staff, and they thought really the key to St. John's was Vardarella's play in behind that back line, because if it's not strong there, then Joey really can't wander at all. He doesn't get a freelance to roam. And so I actually thought he was a big key to that Northview loss, and kind of keeping him separated from Joey and then keeping Joey out to the flank side. I feel like that really helped Northview out, kind of controlling Joey via working on Dion.
To touch out wide from Salim. The right back Mark Hankish is forward. Low cross, took a deflection and taken by Tunis, who was put under pressure by Adel Kanaan.
Brave coming out by Tunis, just a half step early enough though, because Kanaan was making that run. Ottawa Hills has got to find a way to account for Kanaan.
That's an Ottawa Hills throw. Flick into space from Apanunu and heading it forward into a bit of space. Looking for Salim up ahead, all the way through to Tunis. Green Bears 7-0-1, that only draw in the season, coming 1-1 at Maumee Valley Country Day on a very lush surface, you might say. You see that a lot of times during football season on the rare natural surfaces there still are in the area. You want to slow down a speedy running back? Well, don't cut the lawn on Thursday.
turn the sprinklers on, whatever it takes.
Yep.
The grounds crew might not be excited about the aftermath, but they sometimes, they want the win too. I just remember being the head coach at St. Ursula, Bart Schwab. I mean, he would have done anything for the sports teams there. If I would have said that, he might not have been happy about the aftermath. He said, all right, yeah, we'll get it done, whatever it takes.
There's only so much you can do on an artificial surface, though, these days. Some of that gamesmanship goes out the window.
Yeah. If you see a mound of black pellets somewhere in the field, I guess, you can tell someone's up to no good. Or someone's kid was at the practice the day before.
Yes. Pellets always end up in our shoes. Hankish able to get that ball into the box anyway and stood on the ball when it was cleared back to him. Jack Silk over there defending for Ottawa Hills. That's good to release a bit of the pressure. Garcia Mata lost out to Rashid. Bombed forward by Apanunu. And another funky hop away from Tunis. This time he's able to go up high for it.
Yeah, you're right. That just took a weird, strange bounce, and Ian Morton Wisgen was almost right there to capitalize. I'm not sure who the bounce helped more, maybe Graham Tunis in the end. But I don't think either player was ready for it.
Good layoff by John Kite. Back to Hoffman. That's the big target. Apanunu just took it off him. And another big bounce, this time over Kanan. Scott Davis in midfield, shuffled forward to Garcia Mata. Apanunu being forced backwards, just being harried by John Kite.
And that's something Ottawa Hills does really well. We saw John Kite chase back a back from St. Francis that was laying a ball back to the keeper, and Kite stripped him really on that layoff, so he's dangerous. You turn your back to goal, you better play it quick to your keeper.
And Morton Wisgen having a dangerous start to the match, too. He's so quick. I couldn't prevent the corner from being given away. Guess in the end, a quick throw-in taken by Morton Wisgen.
We've seen him back in the back line as well. There's a little reshuffling on the St. John's side, though, because due to transfer laws, it was Harley Laws, a sophomore, that has transferred in the offseason, so he could play the first 8, but not the rest. He was a key player in their back line. But, you go to school for the school, the whole deal. You don't just decide to transfer or not because you have to sit out the rest of the season. It's obviously an integral part of the St. John's team early this year and going forward as well.
Joey Apanunu standing over this free kick.
Kind of feel like he's just going to put it in the goal from this distance. Chips it, though.
Good catch in traffic by Tunis. Taken out anyway. And that might be the first booking of the match. Definitely a talking to.
Yeah, I mean the upside is that obviously they're not stealing time from Ottawa Hills, who's behind the game, but the downside is the ball is now on the ground instead of in the hand, so Graham Tunis is going to he doesn't have the choice now of how he wants to distribute. But sometimes officials feel like they want to get a warning in there.
Good footwork from Jack Silk. Couldn't release a teammate going forward. Morton Wisgen lost his footing. Will Berschbach playing further up the field than he usually does. The redhead, number 2 for the Green Bears. A lot of times plays it right back. Today he's on the right side of that front 3. Ottawa Hills with a free kick. Kind of a fluky early goal from Joey Apanunu. Shot took a huge deflection, popped up into the air, and then took a funky bounce that took it right over Graham Tunis. We'll see if the Green Bears can equalize here. They've scored 47 this year while conceding now just 3 times. Really good ball into the box. The flicked header right over the top from Walker Kite. First chance of the game for Ottawa Hills. We'll see Daniel Durst and Isaac Michonne come on here for Ottawa Hills. And Cameron Doyle up top for St. John's. We might see Salim go up top and Doyle come wide on the right. And Doyle not the sort of tall target man that Adel Kanan is, but uses his body very, very well.
Yeah, I think that the front line for St. John's can give you a lot of different looks, and you talk about using the body so well. It really, the more physical you can play up there, and the more you make those defenders have to, adjust not just the ball, just a lot for them to be able to take in. Giving them different looks of players certainly helps.
Apadunu, I've always marveled at the way he's able to just find little pockets of space and exploit them. Little Scaff, nice try to play that all the way through. Looking Doyle, I guess, but found its way to Graham Tunis. It's knocked not just out of play, but out of Ottawa Hills local school's property. It's in someone's backyard adjacent to the stadium. Good hold-up play by Salim. Couldn't find Doyle, taken off him by Birchback.
Just well read by Will Birchback. You see really him floating back defensively to help out.
Heard Greg McElroy from across the way shouting at Cameron Doyle, field awareness. It's always nice on kind of a quiet afternoon when you can hear the coach's talking points.
Yeah, going to be no excuses today if the players try to act like they can't hear. If we can hear them up in the booth, they have to fess up and admit they heard.
Oof. Ooh. Line drive header over the top from Vardarella.
And they released him forward. Dion Vardarella making a nice run to goal, and Joey Apanunu sits back into the back line. It's been really impressed how well this tandem's worked together. I mean, two of the integral parts from last year, but obviously just a different way of playing.
Tested down for Walker Kite. Couple of options ahead. Didn't find any of them. In fact, there was a bank of three getting up there for Ottawa Hills. Couldn't beat the first man. Garcia Mata on the right side now for the Green Bears. Hoffman trying to dance his way through. Oh, what a turn that is. Able to stay on his feet, too. Walker Kite dispossessed. Good work from Chase Bavis. Going the other way is Ian Morton Wisgen. Apanunu making a big run through the middle to try and offer some support. This is Danny Salim, the shorter of the two options up there. There's the cross. Couldn't find Doyle. Headed out by Birchback to the edge of the box. Rashid, kind of a tame shot, goes wide. St. John's, Chris, more of the possession in the first 17 and a half minutes. They created a few scoring chances. Ottawa Hills really only able to break forward successfully the one time.
Yeah, not really something Ottawa Hills is used to, so it's going to be interesting to see how they react to it. You know, when they have their opportunities, we saw Hoffman going forward, more of an individual effort. Let's see if they're able to piece something together, or if at this point they're really just waiting to get back to the game off a set-piece situation and then starting to let things kind of calm down. You know, a little possession in their back end right now, but, you know, their defensive third, St. John's really wasn't anything that worried about. Salim just kind of putting nice and easy pressure, which is probably why they had the numbers to win the ball in the middle third.
Apanunu had Doyle running ahead. Such good skill from Apanunu. Morton Wisgen might be able to keep this in play. Nah, just out of his reach. On what is kind of a narrow pitch here at Ottawa Hills.
Yeah, anytime you get a track involved, the field's either going to be just a little bit narrow or really narrow.
I was thinking a place like Findlay or at Southview that's still in play, and he's probably able to get a cross in.
Yeah, it really is. It really just makes such a difference when you play in a field like this compared to the wider fields. Just changes the game so much. This isn't super narrow. Clay Stadium field, to be fair, I believe is the narrowest field right now in Northwest Ohio, but that's being played on. I always hear fits about that because it just changes the game so much. There's no width to go to, no space outside of the 18.
I'm going to say the smallest now that St. Ursula's under construction.
That's true. That's true. Well, so either way, the strongest rectangular field. And then on top of that, there's just track's only so safe depending on the area with concrete and things. I remember last time we played, they actually told the kids to stay away from certain parts of the field. It's just not worth it. Just a soccer game. Now it's going to be a water break. Beverage break for everyone.
Saw those taken to the junior varsity game as well earlier. Very, very warm today. In case you haven't been outside yet, you should be inside pumping the air conditioning. Kind of wish we had that up here ourselves.
If you have a nice breezy deck, you can take your laptop outside and watch and listen to the broadcast.
Absolutely.
You can do that as well.
And of course, on your phone, on the BCSN Now app.
Right. Just if you're a Michigan fan, you can just pretend like they didn't play again because they didn't, apparently, but based on what I'm hearing.
From the sound of it, Michigan was down 28-0 at halftime to Wisconsin. Those noon kickoffs are always difficult, especially when you're moving a time zone over. It's 11 a.m. I kind of got the sense that Michigan was still having breakfast.
Well, they're having breakfast. Wisconsin was feeding them their lunch. But boom.
Well played.
Sorry, I had to. That was, it wasn't a good one, but it had to be said. It is what it is, right? They still have to play the game.
It's good to see Daniel Durst get out there for Ottawa Hills. He's been dealing with some Achilles tendonitis. They still don't have Donovan Bridges. You see him, number 9, kind of at the back of that huddle, dealing with the after effects of a dislocated kneecap. Ouch. He should be back in the next few weeks. That's the good news. A very creative player and someone who can really make that Green Bear midfield go.
And you always feel for the seniors, too, just for them. They probably feel it's a culmination of their career coming to their senior year, and they end up missing significant parts. It's always tough, and that's why you always have to enjoy the journey and not just get your heart set on the destination. But he's definitely one of the key players they've been playing without for a while and still having the success they've had.
Yeah, and you consider their goal differential now plus 44 through 8 games, and that's without one of your creative talisman. That's really impressive.
Definitely without a goalkeeper, almost. Well, for one game at least.
Yeah, you'll have to look awfully hard to find a more bizarre goalkeeping situation than Ottawa Hills experienced in that Dayton Christian game. We touched on it earlier. Glad that Graham Tunis is okay.
You have to check those trees over there if there's alumni up there making them sway, or stay away from the trees, kids.
Filing them down so the edges are a bit sharper. Salim watches that run behind. It's a corner for the St. John's Jesuit Titans at 5-2-1. This is a team that lost darn near everybody from last year, the entire back line. You lose Abdi Faki and Eli Shope, who are now at BGSU, and Brian Rutkowski, very good goalkeeper.
Yeah, they had a run of goalkeepers. So you got your third year, new starting goalkeeper. It's always tough to take for any program. Luckily, they've had some depth. They've been able to move up.
Much too deep delivery from Salim on the corner. It was Apanunu. A lesser player would have played the short square ball to Dion Vardarella, but Apanunu isn't just anybody.
Sometimes I think he relishes opening up a little space for himself and then laying the ball off. So I think he's comfortable enough to wait.
That's how you stay engaged in the game. Good touch from Bursch back infield. Seen some good footwork from him. Of course, you can't miss the feet of these Ottawa Hills players. Those bright electric green socks. Big collision between Will Scaff and Isaac Michonne. In the end, it's just a throw-in.
I think the officials looked at each other trying to figure out. Well, I didn't hear a whistle originally, but maybe it's because the AR and him were still figuring it out.
I was going to say, coming together like that, I don't know how you determine who's at fault
Yeah.
more so than the other one. One of those things that happen sometimes.
And then pulling the ball back this far. Try to figure out why it's this far into the field. St. John's players have figured it out. No, like the center official's making to move it back. Oh.
He'll move it back a foot. Jacob Rashid sees it. You see him gesturing to freshman. No, back. Now we'll take it. Hangs up there, but couldn't beat Chase Davis. It's clipped back in by Scott Davis. And that almost took a hop right over Denecki. That would have been poetic justice to have a freaky bounce-related goal at each end in the first 25 minutes.
And you think about the vertical ability that Ben has in stature over Graham, and that might have been all needed right there.
Michonne, nobody there. Doyle's tripped up. Chance for another patented Joey Apanunu line drive free kick. Just cut it under any kind of breeze, not worry about spin, just straight to the target. Yeah, just like that. Danny Salim was maybe playing for another big bounce.
Yeah.
He didn't really go after it. Adel Kanan was up there, too. He didn't go after it either.
He was facing back to the ball, so ended up not running on it. But I mean, it does always amaze me that the players oftentimes don't think to make that run right in front of where the goalkeeper is going to be coming to the ball. Oftentimes you see them run behind. And of course, they have other designs in their head prior. But if you get that one natural scorer that just knows and always reacts to get himself in a great position right in front of the path of that ball, kind of the intersection of the ball and the goalkeeper. You think of like a Dennis Rodman on the basketball side, and when you hear him interview about rebounding, because everything else is who knows where it's going to go, but rebound, he talks about how he's immediately seeing the spin off the player's hands and how he's seeing it's going to come off that. He's assuming it's not going in. He's trying to figure out where to go, and that's why he got as many rebounds as he did.
I have a feeling Danny Salim and Adel Kanan have kicked fewer photographers than Dennis Rodman has.
Well, they have time. They're young. They can catch up, I'm sure.
Call it an educated guess. It's Will Scaff. We'll work that back to Denecki. Hasn't had a save to make.
He's been putting a considerable amount of pressure on a couple of pass backs where St. John's really has to be careful because of Ottawa Hills' pattern of really defending those well. They take a risk. They come after the goalkeeper, try to either get that ball before it makes it to him, or as you saw in the last one, jump up, try to get the deflection off the clear.
Tank picked it up, stayed on his feet with Apanunu going into the tackle. It's Daniel Durst. Good ball to pick out Hoffman. Hankish, though, helped relieve him of the ball. Hankish was terrific in the first half. That game we called a couple of weeks ago against St. Francis. Sent an across that led to the first goal and what ended up as a 5-1 St. John's win. Durst, the short option there was Hoffman. Forward looking for the run of John Kite. Keeper off the line, just wide. And when I say just wide, I mean just wide.
Yeah, full length extension for Ben Denecki to make sure it went wide. I think if it was on frame, he might have caught it, or deflected it, but that ball still would have been live. I don't think he would have caught it. I should correct myself. It would have been deflections. That ball would have been live.
Boy, that really happened in the blink of an eye, didn't it? We were just talking a minute ago about how Ben Denecki hasn't had a whole lot to do back there, hadn't had a save to make. And then one terrific pass, one darting run from Kite. And all of a sudden he's called into action for the first time. It's headed out by Kalela. I mentioned it's a brand new St. John's backline. They lost Ben Adams, Dane Kallman, Usman Khan, and Justin Batdorf from last year. Durst had a touch, but away by Bavis. Now Wida Zizi almost got in there. He's in off the bench. Scored a spectacular goal right at the end of the first half against St. Francis. Little half clearance out to the edge of the box. And a volley that sent spinning past the St. Francis keeper. Wasn't sure we'd see a better goal all season than that. And then Joey Apanunu only went and did it at the end of the match. So it wasn't even the best goal of that night. And then you had Jonah Meyer-Crothers in the Northview-Southview game, a goal that ended up as BCSN's play of the week.
Yeah, you get the text from Ian Graham covering the game at Southview. Immediately saying that about the bicycle. It's just always tough. You think about the goal, is it in the moment or is it the build-up? There's all those things that put together. You think about Azizi's where the ball's coming across and knowing the situation, the way he finished, it was fantastic. Joey Apanunu's kind of run through the mogul course. It wasn't just a strike of a ball. It was, the 10, 12 seconds prior, and then the bicycle, of course, which was really more kind of almost a flick behind. Yeah, if you're going to go short around Ottawa Hills, you have to know where everyone is. That was that was also a fantastic goal-scoring opportunity for Ottawa Hills.
Yeah, that came up and hit Joe Colella in the hand. Really like that some of the new wrinkles that St. John's has this year personnel-wise are young. Fuentes, the other goalkeeper's a sophomore. Ian Morton Wisgen's a sophomore. Danny Salim's only a junior. Falls for John Kite. Good quick shot, but a better save from Denecki. It was hit right at him, but those are really, really difficult to catch. We talked about it earlier this week. Anytime you make a goalkeeper think about whether they are able to punch it away, block it with the body, or catch it. A lot of times they end up doing none of the above.
When you think about the size of Ben Denecki, too, he's a bigger guy, so his significant advantages are usually the high balls or long extensions. I think I talked about the last broadcast I was on. Is gravity, though undefeated, is slow, and it's faster to go up than it is down usually, and you've got to get your hip kind of popped out and get your body down to the ground, which is not easy to do, especially with reading it off the field turf. And once you're committed to going down, you're stuck down there.
Durant sent it on. Vardarello won the header. Denecki retreats back to his line as Drew Hoffman gets to his feet. Green Bears, they've got enough issues with players being healthy. They don't need to lose somebody like Drew Hoffman, even if it's just something like a little knock. Nice turn from Jack O'Brien. His father, Mike O'Brien, of course, the athletic director at the University of Toledo. That's out of the reach of Kite. Hoffman will get a breather here. Jack Silk comes back on. And Ian Morton Wisgen on for St. John's. Will Scaff to the bench. Under 10 minutes left until halftime. Lucas Batdorf in there for St. John's, and here's Doyle with a bit of space ahead of him. One-on-one with Duran. Doyle cutting in. Shot on the right foot. Good save by Tunis. Nice turn from Batdorf back into the box, and yikes. A miss kick from O'Brien. It's behind for a corner.
Good ball move by St. John's again. Attacked one way, then they dealt really well with the ball going wide of the goal to the right side. Obviously, they would like to poke it in, but at least they're able to chase it down and get another opportunity right away. I think Doyle he really took his time there. If he would have slotted in and scored, it would have been great. But, but now you might wonder, maybe he should win a little faster. But he certainly came up with a great opportunity on goal.
Ottawa Hills trying to get away. Headed back in by Apanunu. Easy catch for Tunis. Wisgen went up for that one. Here's Jack Silk. Durst up ahead of him. Here's Kite. Durst continues his run. Kite an option through the middle. Jack Silk coming in there as well. There's the shot. Oh, has a heck of a lot of swerve on that. Almost totally fooled Danecki. In the end, a good save and a good smother.
Yeah, that was pretty much the perfect camera angle to see that too there with that ball just spinning like it was. Well reacted by Danecki to get his hands to it and adjust to the flight of that ball and then get it on the second try to finally collect it. So the question's going to be, though, you wonder on both sides. Ottawa Hills did a pretty good job of following that to the goal, but if someone truly would have been reacting on the shot immediately at the strike, maybe they would have made it in time. On the St. John's side, they've got to be very disappointed that the defenders weren't immediately collapsing to the goal.
That's through the uprights from Joey Apanunu. Going to play at BGSU. Big Northwest Ohio contingent there. Adam Ayad coming back in for Ottawa Hills.
And we always
takes a seat.
Always talk about it. We love the college coaches that give the Northwest Ohio kids a chance. It doesn't mean they have to take them, but recruiting, and we've seen the VGSU men's team not only give the chance of recruiting, but actually bringing those kids in there. That's a dedication to the area. We like seeing that.
Of course, Shope and Fockey from last year's team are there. Cale Nichols there too. Son of the head coach, of course.
And Spencer Straka from St. Francis of Toledo.
Uh-huh.
So they're going to have to like each other next year. Well, I guess they could like him now. He's no longer in school.
Yeah, you do reach a point in life where your high school alma mater doesn't matter so much anymore. Here comes John Kite. It's a good mazy run trying to tee up Jack Silk in the box. That's a great tackle from Ian Morton Wiskin. He gives the corner away. He had to time that perfectly or it's a penalty, and he timed it perfectly.
So well timed, yeah. So well timed. And he was off to the left side, too, so you figure that, I mean, it's a risk you only take if you know you can get the job done, because he still doesn't have an ideal angle. You can still kind of stay in the fight a little bit by just making his life difficult. But what a great tackle.
Good corner, knotted down and in. Authoritative header to tie it up from John Kite.
And there's an example of getting in between the ball and the goalkeeper as Ben Danecki's coming out. Kite makes the run, meets the ball, coming to it and able to put it away.
Absolute peach of a delivery, too, from Adam Ayad.
I think that was the secret, too. It wasn't just lofted. It was hit with a little bit of authority. So it doesn't float up in the air. If it floats in the air too long, it becomes the advantage of the goalkeeper and the advantage of the defenders.
So game on here. Goal from Ottawa Hills. Less than 6 minutes until halftime. Really outside of that early flurry from St. John's. They scored the kind of funky goal from Apanunu on that big spin. They had a couple more chances after that, but Ottawa Hills has really been growing into it.
Yep, they had the one with the high bounce that almost got over Ben, and then that one right there, pounded in by John.
Right when that goal went in, Greg McElroy brought Adel Kanan and Jacob Rashid back in to shore things up. That's Doyle. Kanan on the turn, trying to hop away from Jack O'Brien. There's the cross. Decent delivery. Good catch by Tunis at the near post. Batdorf was up there for St. John's.
Yeah, that adjustment almost paid immediate dividends, but great turn by Kanan. Received that ball, got himself the end line, hit it with the left foot. Floated a little bit too toward to Graham. So he's able to kind of collect it a little bit too easily, but
Kanan kind of hopping out of the way, I guess. Apanunu coming forward. Well defended by Emilio Durant. Rashid won it back. And Batdorf will see that trickle away from him. It's always nice when you see a big guy like Adel Kanan. It's kind of a stereotypical thing when you see a big number 9 who is 6'4". For one thing, they're not real good with either foot a lot of the time. And they're also not very quick and can't turn too quickly. There's a lot that a Delcanon can do out there.
Yeah, no, it really is. And I remember seeing him the first time he was out here and still kind of growing into his body as far as coordination. And he's certainly there now. Wow, that was very confident. Chase Bavis turned that ball under pressure, but he turned it to the right spot. There's no one there.
Classy defending, you might say.
Clean and tidy.
Mm-hmm. Made it look so routine and so simple. Jack Silk there just stepped in front of Batdorf. Batdorf got to his feet quicker. A couple of decent tackles from Scott Davis. Rashid, though, wins it back. Davis into the tackle for a third time. Big challenge from Ayad, the freshman, not afraid to mix it up. Kanan had to take it off him. And Jack Silk gives away a throw-in near the corner flag.
A little quick clinic of foot skills that we had right there. A flurry of about 45 seconds. I mean, you're going to see that maybe in a futsal match. That's about it normally. For the most part, clean tackling as well, just on the ball.
Rashid's header. Tunis went up for it. Good distribution, too, trying to launch a counterattack quickly. Kite, had he turned that to his left, he would have seen the runner there, Drew Hoffman. That one will find Hoffman. And Kite straight through the middle. He goes down. Now, outside the box, inside.
He's putting it inside. I thought it was outside. He's going to go red card for the...
It's a yellow. I was thinking same. It will be a yellow.
I mean, I guess I'm confused at what the... you wonder what the call is. If it's the last defender, it's a dog, so it's got to be a hard red. But maybe he's seeing some other sort of tactical foul. But it doesn't matter because in the opinion of the referees, all it matters.
And dog, for the record. First time I've heard that acronym, by the way. Denial of goal-scoring opportunity.
Yep.
So a doggo, maybe? D-O-G-O?
I'm a big fan of the dog, of enforcement, which is tough, too, because the red card, when the high school association started making red cards so brutal on the players, they stopped being used by the referees. So now there's a tool out of the toolbox, and then it's never used consistently or the same, and it's just tough.
So the wall now in place. John Kite, who drew the foul over the free kick. John Kite, right at the feet of Ben Denecki.
Yeah, and that whole time I was thinking, I wonder if you should put the wall on the other side, because you knew he was going to go there. He was going to go around that side of the wall. Maybe you pop it to the other side and make him, bend it towards that. But at that point, he might just go high, and then it's harder for Ben to see that coming, dipping up and over the wall. Oh. Yeah, I was going to say you're going to need the – you're going to have to. You're going to have to card him on that one. You got the player.
Was a really noisy collision.
Yes, that was.
Yellow for Walker Kite. That's one that I'm happy not to see a second time. We don't have replays, of course, on BCSN Now streaming exclusives.
So it's your choice if you're DVRing this or move it back on your computer. That's your call, not mine.
It's manual replay, yeah. 2:18 left in the half. Delcanon still just sitting up, but not yet in a state where he can get to his feet. I think a big shot like that, everything happens in slow motion for the next few minutes.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Glad to see him on his feet walking off. Yeah, and one thing you think about is, so if you're going to just call a dangerous play, it's any boot above your own waist, depending on the referee on the day, but at your own waist generally. And then if it's studs exposed, whether there's contact or not, you should be getting a yellow card more than likely. If studs are exposed and there's contact, probably getting a red card. And it's going away from being a indirect dangerous play situation to an actual a direct situation. So hopefully he's all right. But with how tall he is, you're thinking probably the boot was above the waist anyways, which could have been why one of the many reasons there could have been a yellow card on that.
Apanunu clips that in, was looking for Vardarella again. The header away from Ayed. Davis could only pop that right up into the air.
Oh, I'd say he didn't win that ball in the end, but you just like to see John Kite. He comes to the ball. He tries to make that turn quick. He knows the situation, under 2 minutes, and he's trying to go quick. Worst case was the ball went out for a throw-in. Such a good target.
He's taken that Kevin Heilman role and really run with it. Heilman and Dylan Streeter last year combined for 60 goals between them, 22 more set up. Kevin Heilman, of course, now playing at Navy. 90 seconds to halftime. Apanunu bangs that forward. Headed away from the penalty spot. Further away by Hoffman. It's good skill from Daniel Durst. Clipped a couple of St. John's defenders. Dealt with by Nick Biddle in the end. Last thing you want to do is concede right before halftime. No one up there for Salim to try and pick out.
I was going to say, or be a Del Canon. What are those two things, the last things you want to do right now?
Yeah, fair point.
Hopefully he's all right. He's still sitting over there, I believe, right? Yeah.
On the coach's bench,
yep.
Not the player's bench. Panunu's cross. Oof. That's really risky defending back from Mayat, I think it was. There's a chance for a shot. Took a big block. There's Rashid on the shot.
Uh-oh. You appreciate the try at that skill right there. Mark Hank is trying to chest it down to his teammate, but well read by Ottawa Hills.
Hoffman, good slow motion wriggle away from Doyle. Hoffman, good touch down the line away from Hankish. There's the cross. It's headed behind, but no chance for the corner because that's all for the first 40 minutes. And a really fun first 42. Early goal from Apanunu of St. John's on that big bounce over Graham Tunis. And then John Kite. Terrific header from a great corner kick, just under 6 minutes left before the half. Chris Black, your thoughts?
It's all to play for. Maybe it should be at this point, but St. John's was the aggressor for so long, and then Ottawa Hills was capable of hanging around, as we've seen them do, and they really just are so close to really just making the most out of a mistake by St. John's a number of times, and they get that goal on a great corner kick. John Kite just flashed into that ball, getting the goal, pounded away, so it's all to play for. 40 minutes in the second half.
So Chris Black and myself will be back for all the second half action on the BCSN Now app and BCSNNation.com. For the moment, it's halftime at Ottawa Hills. The Green Bears won, the Titans won. Ready to go for the start of the second half here in Niedermeyer Stadium at Ottawa Hills. It's 1-1 between the Green Bears and the St. John's Jesuit Titans. Thanks for joining us on the BCSN Now app on BCSNNation.com. Mason Lowry and Chris Black. What are you looking for second half, Chris?
Well, wide open play, I think. St. John's probably pretty disappointed with how they ended that half, especially letting Ottawa Hills get back in that game on a set piece that really went awry. But for them defensively, so St. John's want to pressure right away. We saw Panuno put the ball long immediately to Ion to start the attack. They're going to get after goal a little bit here. And as you see, just still kind of who's hungriest, who wants us to dig it out of the 18, but then
Panuno, low drive through traffic, and a good snag by Graham Tunis to get down and cover that up.
And St. John's already looking hungry. You see Danny Salim right away. He's on the shot going towards the goal as soon as Panuno struck that ball. I mean, Ottawa Hills just still kind of taking opportunities, I'd imagine. Kind of surprised. That's okay. I was going to say, you're going to want to, okay, there's the whistle. I think it's just a little bit of a late whistle. But anyways, Ottawa Hills, will they stay opportunistic? I mean, it seems like that's how they've gotten a lot of their goals and gotten their kind of swagger going in some of the games I've got to cover this year. Pressuring that back line of St. John's, putting some pressure on Ben Denecki, and wait for the set pieces. Be interested to see if they stay patient.
Whip forward, look for Kite. Header, it's in! John Kite, 2 set-piece headed goals, and Ottawa Hills now up 2-1.
Yeah, we saw a similar problem, I think, in the Northview game where that back line ends up setting that restraining line for offsides way too deep. I mean, that ball's being sent in from the 50 for the most part, and you put all that traffic in front of your goalkeeper, and you're letting them get so close. I mean, Kite's basically flipping that ball in from inside the 6. They've got to keep a little bit of space clean and clear for Ben Denecki to move into to deal with that ball in traffic.
Great delivery from Emilio Duran, the freshman. There's Hoffman clipping that forward. Flag stays down. Kite!
Yeah, I heard calls for offside. I think he was on. I think they were pushed up on the left side, the back left side of St. John's, held the player on by the central players. Yeah, I think that was the same thing Greg McElroy was saying. Coach St. John's, quit doing this. He was onside because the players are still fighting, putting their arm down or arm up, etc.
His is the loudest voice in the stadium. Scooped away by Will Scaff.
Well, that's just because I have a headset on, so I'm not yelling.
True.
Tricky ball in now the other way for St. John's. A little bump.
Will Burschback shoulder to shoulder with Danny Salim.
Oh,
he's taken out there. I saw what you saw, Chris.
I was kind of surprised, but
Risky defending in the box. And volleyed out by Joe Colella.
Yeah, I think, Ottawa Hills got very fortunate there, unless he didn't make contact, and we just had a bad angle on it. But the AR was right there. So we thought between him or the center, one of the two of them would have called if there's something to be seen there. St. John's, they started out with the swagger for about the first minute, and then now it's all Ottawa Hills.
I think that ran behind anyway.
Yeah, that looks to be what the AR is signaling over there. Playing the yellow lines all around the field. So one of the easier marked fields to understand, at least. Now that the midline obviously is going to change from yellow to white once you get in the football, but that should be okay since you have 3 officials. With 2 officials, that can get a little harder because of offside. They rightly have 3 for today's game. It's just too much speed to have just 2 officials in a game like this today. They're giving Apanunu a lot of space over there in the corner. He's still
something you may want to reconsider.
Defensively. I think he wants to reconsider dropping that ball off. I knew what he was thinking there, but he had some space to get in there into the corner of the attacking third.
John Kite's on a hat trick now. 16 goals for the season. Colella got that tangled up at his feet. Daniel Durst was barreling down on him.
Yeah, surprised no handling called right there, but must have thought it was inconsequential.
Rashid nipping at the heels of Drew Hoffman, who now accelerates forward. Hoffman plays that into Kite. Play back to Hoffman. Great stop by Denecki. Everything right there but the finish.
Yeah, and I think and Ben Denecki, I think he just read it. As he was already moving that way to deal with that shot, he could probably feel the pressure going one way, knowing that they're going to bring the ball back across the goal mouth. But when you saw that build-up, I mean, Ottawa Hills just had better numbers than St. John's. And that's really not going to be good news going forward defending 3 against 5 or 4 against 5.
Apanunu just nudged off the ball. It's a free kick. Daniel Durst fouled him. Benunu and Salim standing over it. And by the way, I think Adel Kanan's race is run. He's still sitting on that coach's bench right at midfield across the way. And Andrew Allen is now acting as the striker, number 16. Big guy at 6'4". Benunu!
Well struck ball. I want to put that one up for goal of the week this week. Bent around the wall, back to the other post. Really well struck ball.
If you're watching at home, you might want to try that manual replay thing time or 6. Not Benunu. I thought he might get booked for the celebration.
I think he was responding to something from the crowd, and I think maybe the officials were happy. It was just a easy recognition and nothing more, unfortunately. But that's the best way. Hey, you don't like what the crowd's doing? Play better. It's a good way to respond. Deal with what you can control, and let everyone else deal with themselves, I guess.
Allen's cross blocked by Birschbach. Feel like there's more goals in this.
Yeah,
I certainly hope so.
I have your feeling. If Ottawa Hills can keep kind of the energy that they were just on, they probably have another one in it for them too, right away. I think that's probably the big concern for both these sides is really kind of winning the mental war.
Morton Wiskin almost found Hankish headed behind. We'll try this again.
It looked like Hankish got it, but then Amelia Duran headed it away.
Duran's had a decent game, the freshman. Scaff. Barbarella will watch that run out. Will stay with St. John's. Benunu coming over for the long throw, and Will Scaff says, I'd like to have this one. Benunu sends him away. We know Joey's got a big throw.
And no battling for it, though. That's the issue that I think St. John's has had. A will to win the air and the ball has not been anywhere near the commitment that Ottawa Hills has had to try to win that ball in the air. We saw it on the goals they gave up, and then on situations like that, where I think was that Amelia Duran that cleared that ball by himself?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, I might have been the second closest person to him at that point when he cleared it. No one really closed on him, gave him a little bit of pressure, or just something to think about. You don't even have to get there. Just make him think as that ball's coming that he's got pressure coming his way.
Biddle was blocked. Found its way to Salim anyway.
He wants to skip this ball over to Scaff, but and Joey turned the wrong way. Will Scaff had been asking for it, and he's like, of course, now I get it. So good pressure by Ottawa Hills because they try to shrink that field, pushing across. Weren't allowing a free ball into Will Scaff, who had space.
This time, Benunu leaves it for Scaff.
And he's like, just throw it to me. I think he's going to call a dangerous play there. Maybe Scaff's boot up too high.
Bombed long by Duran. Kite was up there. Header was won by Chase Bavis, but picked up by Walker Kite. Kite not the biggest guy, but not afraid to be physical. He's won it back there. Will find its way to Drew Hoffman. Davis was asking for it. Morton Wiskin overran it a little bit. Davis didn't get the cross right.
I think Scott Davis thought Wiskin was going to be able to do something with it, didn't he? Just kind of he let it roll. In the end, it worked out well for him to come back to it, but just not the ball he wanted to play when he got the opportunity to do so. Oh, there we win a head ball from St. John's, but really, it's a field position play, not bad. Probably wanted to flick somebody on. Morton Wiskin was holding his run.
Adam Ayad comes in for Ottawa Hills. Iggy Garcia Mata comes off.
Just the bottom, you can see the lack of mobility. Nathan Bear is losing it, head coach Ottawa Hills. He thought he could get it. Eyes were better than his legs, I guess.
All coaches who used to be players think they still have the same range and touch as they did in their playing days.
I have a phenomenal touch. It's just my tackle on the second touch isn't as good as it used to be.
Mine was never good to begin with.
I was going to say, if I have to explain the whole joke, it's not funny anymore, really. But
I'm with you, pal. I got you.
Oh, there we go. Dangerous ball played in, but
Morton Wiskin had a touch, and Allen from a difficult angle with bodies around him couldn't get that hip around fast enough.
I think that was better from St. John's as far as committing themselves to win the ball. Burschbeck was there. He almost redirected it. Then Ian got it anyways. And Burschbeck's spending his time, it seems, in the back line now this half, in the second half, on the right side, trying to slow down St. John's attack on this flank.
Really heavy touch from Allen there. Burschbeck trying to sweep it forward. One back by Morton Wiskin for St. John's. Allen crowded out. Burschbeck and Davis were there. Kite climbing up for it. That's Walker Kite. Trying to play it through. Keeper has to stay on his line. It goes behind. Corner.
And Nick Biddle ran it down. Would have been brilliant to be able to keep the ball inbound, but obviously it wasn't going to happen.
Kind of a scuffed ball back in from Scott Davis and out for a throw. It's Truman Talbot who's out there, number 6 as well for Ottawa Hills. He's the junior varsity keeper. Had to play one half last week of the Dayton Christian game. There's Hoffman being pulled back by Salim, but referee says play on, and now Salim breaks out. Only other runner-up is Allen. See if Salim can make a mazy run through. He's upended. St. John's free kick. Maybe a little too far out for Joey Apanunu to have a crack at goal.
I think really the big question is going to be how high can St. John's put their restraining line? Can they get Ottawa Hills to drop back and know they're not going to be able to? See Ottawa Hills, kind of putting their players putting their arms out. We're holding at the 18 guys, so they're not going to allow it to drop. So if they allow that to drop into the 18 now you have a chance to get some traffic in front of Graham Tunis and really make him think about it if Joey puts this on frame.
Went diagonally, trying to find Allen, and couldn't.
Yeah, not the first time today. They're having a hard time really spacing those balls off to the side. You can tell what they're trying to do, get it out wide, redirect it in the center for a second wave, but just not on the same page today.
Big header forward from Apanunu. Scaff went short to Joey. Taken back by Drew Hoffman. That's Talbot running on the left. Couple of options ahead. Kite and Kite. Look for Walker Kite. Couldn't set him up. A little touch into a bit of space from Hoffman. He goes down. Free kick.
I think he's going to get him for the trail leg. So on the initial, the way I saw it on the initial playing of the ball, you saw Ian Morton Wiskin tackle the ball away, but his trail leg then caught the Ottawa Hills player. I think that's probably what the foul was called for in the end. I think a lot of people might not have seen that, but at the same point, a lot of people have the confusion. I hate when they say, but I got the ball, and they're doing the round ball shape with their hands, but I got the ball. Well, yeah, but then you stabbed him. You don't wipe out the stab. I've had that conversation with many officials. and they usually concede, okay, yeah, that's a good point. You can't do whatever you want after you get the ball.
Hoffman, oof.
Off the upright.
Couldn't get that down quite fast enough. And you'll see Durst and Garcia-Mata back on for Ottawa Hills.
Close to water break time as well.
Hyatt and Talbot coming off. I like the play to bring the JV keeper, Truman Talbot, on. Go up there and run for 5 minutes and make a nuisance of yourself, and he did.
Yep, be dangerous. Be noticed. Give someone else a little break. Well, and you know that all goalkeepers have confidence in front of the goal because they all think they're forwards. So there's no self-doubt in their mind. If he gets that chance, he's scoring. So I don't know. I don't know how he finishes, but I know he has belief in how he finishes.
That's got to be a free kick. Nothing given there. I can't believe that.
I think there might have been an angle situation where they didn't see the kind of the hook and the hold around. I think that's what's being explained to the center official right now. But, you know, guys, if he didn't see it, he didn't see it. And how many times did people go complain the referees about Michael Jordan hooking them? Or they probably just thought it wasn't going to be called. They probably didn't try. Poor Shannon Anderson, I think it was, for the Utah Jazz. I think it was Shannon Anderson. He's forever immortalized by a ridiculous hook and a push-off. I think Jordan pushed him into the 17th row and then hit the winning shot in the playoff game. But no, in all seriousness, yeah, you could just tell a little hook and a little handsiness.
Morton was going to touch sideways, too far out. Ottawa Hills thrown, and you're right, we are getting very close to water break time. Morton Wiskin won the header. On to drop between Rashid and Durst. That's Salim. It's a good run from him, trying to split through all the defenders. He's pulled back, free kick. Accumulation of fouls.
Yep. Just wonder who's going to get it, though. So I don't know if he meant they tried to get him 3 times and you're the last one so you get the card, or if he meant you did all 3.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, which that is fair. That is fair if that's what it was.
It's Jack O'Brien who was booked. Danny Assi comes in. So Joe Colella got a yellow earlier for St. John's. Walker Kite, and now O'Brien here in the book for Ottawa Hills. We've already seen Joey Apanunu score from one of these in a very similar spot.
We kind of wonder if, well, and then Ottawa Hills now is picking up Scaff, because you saw how wide open Scaff was. Kind of wonder if they're just going to clip it over to him. He's going to walk it in, but Ottawa Hills has now pushed Danielle Durst out there, so now you've got to imagine it's going on frame. So far, Danny Salim standing over the ball.
Salim, high.
Yeah, it's one of those things. You don't know if what went through the mind was, hey, you earned it. You battled through it, your chance. Or if it's a matter of knowing that Apanunu has already taken the last couple.
Greg McElroy makes 2 changes. Doyle and Azizi coming in.
We talked about Ottawa Hills being first in the state poll for D3. St. John's will probably drop out of the state poll, I'd imagine. They are number 2 still in Northwest Ohio, but I think that probably that loss in Northview is going to pop them out of the poll for a little while, which not the end of the world anyways. They're still trying to find themselves. New coaching staff, half our roster turned over. But it does go to show the quality of teams up here battling today.
Anthony Wayne, oddly enough, wasn't in the D1 poll either, which I assume was a paperwork thing.
That would be someone did not turn their poll votes in on time.
No Northview either.
Yep, so no one from Northwest Ohio D1 was put in, which means their voter missed the deadline or technical issues. But usually if there's a technical issue, they'll work around it. So it's probably just missed the deadline, which, to be fair, it is. It's one more thing you're not paid to do as a head coach if you're doing the poll organization. And I remember when I was doing the girls D2 poll, I only turned in one team for Northwest Ohio. Then I got in trouble. We'll see how this run here, and I'll finish the story.
Hampanunu trying to sweep it through for Danny Salim. It's a good last-ditch intervention from Birchback. Doyle on the turn. Salim pushed over. Doyle running onto it. Cameron Doyle for St. John's. Oh, what a finish!
Well, and that's either a fortunate no call or a fortunate advantage called by the official right there, where some people are asking for a foul. He didn't give it. So we're going to do a water break at this point, then take advantage of the stoppage of play, natural stoppage of play here. So I was going to say, so I turned in just one because I was always of the belief if they're not state quality, I'm not putting them in to be voted on.
Sure,
I know them better than anyone else. Well, unfortunately, only 2 other coaches turned their polls in. So there's only 7 players in the state poll, and people were kind of mad at me, so I had to remind them my philosophy. And people said, well, we could have gotten 2 more in-state ranked. I'm like, well, do you really want to be ranked because other people didn't put their votes in? I don't.
Fair comment, yeah.
If I'm not in the top 10, I don't want to be considered for the top 10. So either way, they said I had to do 3 from now on, so I did. Dutifully did my job with a strongly worded letter I never wrote. But, yeah, so it happens. It definitely happens. And you imagine Anthony Wayne, depending on how things went with the rest of the state, we'll see their ascension continuing up forward. Some great games for them coming up this week.
Including one you and I will call on Thursday.
That's right.
Out in White House, they'll take on these Ottawa Hills Green Bears. Just got a thrilling win over Northview on Tuesday. Hayden Zimmerman scoring with 46 seconds left.
Well, you know, they're
Anthony
concerned.
Wayne unbeaten.
They didn't want the crowd to leave early. So they
yes, of course,
kept people around to the end. I mean, not like Michigan fans leaving early today, but so they wanted to make
well, luckily
sure.
for them, that game was in Camp Randall, so probably less leaving early and more switching over to a more competitive game, like this one.
Yeah, there we go. It's just like this one. I would imagine less people jumping around late in the fourth quarter with I don't even know what they call their 2 colors, but maize and blue.
Maize and blue.
Yeah, it might have been all.
So you did know. You knew exactly what the 2 colors were.
An Ohio State-Michigan rivalry fun fact. Sylvania was well known for Ohio State fans back in the Woody Hayes era because he would stop the buses in Sylvania to gas them up because he didn't want to give Michigan a single more dime than he had to.
Sure.
So then when they drive back from Ann Arbor, they get gas in Sylvania again, right up 23.
So Sylvania, Ohio, a flashpoint in the rivalry.
And your link, of course, your rivalry is Charles Woodson, which doesn't really.
Yes, from my hometown, and Rob Lytle, the late Rob Lytle,
yeah.
both from Fremont, where I was born.
I'm a little early on the Ohio State-Michigan talk, but I guess I'm getting excited.
Hey, it's never too early for Ohio State-Michigan talk during a water break when we're trying to fill about 90 seconds.
That's right. So, not all to play for anymore. One more to get in it for Ottawa Hills, but we've seen what they can do, score quick out of nowhere, so still a chance for them to get back into this game.
We've seen 4 really well-taken goals and 1 fluky bounce that opened the scoring after 5 minutes. Here's Doyle hustling down there again, and a good tackle, a clean one from Emilio Duran.
It's always difficult for the officials to try to decide was that someone tripping over someone's foot or someone being tripped over by someone's foot after a tackle? They elected to say ball was cleaned out and contact was made from Doyle to the defender. But that's why they get paid the big bucks and get to wear the cool blue jerseys. You could see Isaiah in the middle, the center official, wearing that, like riding his bicycle around like he's in the Tour de France with that bright blue look. Of course, he's fit, which helps.
Morton Wiskin's ball in is headed away and then helped on its way by Asi.
I like the organization back from Ottawa Hills, trying to establish that restraining line. They're trying to pull St. John's away from their goal. That was Emilio Duran, the freshman, playing center back, pushing those players up.
Of course, the jersey you really want to be wearing in the Tour de France is yellow.
Yes.
So maybe borrow one of the Ottawa Hills players' pennies.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I don't know. The blue might be a certain phase jersey. I'm really low on my Tour de France knowledge, except for it was fun to watch the countryside this year.
Yeah, I'll say this. The next time I watch cycling on television will be the first time.
It was great. A couple of Frenchmen in it to the end. Who knows? I don't even know if they won, but to the end.
I'll be up early watching the Singapore Grand Prix tomorrow.
There you go. I bet you there'll be some nice, fancy racing colors in that.
I'm certain you're right. Charles Leclerc on the pole again, by the way, for Ferrari.
That's neither here nor there. You could be lying. I would not know.
There's somebody at home who has been paying attention
right.
to that who will know I'm telling the truth. Maybe. Bendenecki's goal kick. St. John's leading through Cameron Doyle. 2.5 minutes ago, right before the water break. There is Doyle. Goal scorer, potentially match winner for St. John's. Ottawa Hills with a throw in across the way.
Yeah, you could tell what Azizi was thinking. They had a little nice triangle kind of running there, and they were combining well, but at some point, you got to settle that ball down a little bit.
Nice try from Kite, but didn't come to anything. And that's horribly misplayed sideways from Scott Davis, one of the captains. Doyle for Salim. Azizi running through the middle. Salim cutting it back. No chance to try a shot. Salim was still going. He's knocked down right at the edge of the 18, then helped away somewhat. Shot fizzed in and goes wide. It was Hankish.
Yeah, I like that idea, though. I mean, yes, it went wide, but why not have a go from distance? Ball was well hit. It was low, just obviously wide. So well hit as far as the pace and the spin on it, but
Chase Lorenzen will get a shift here, and Drew Hoffman out, I would think not for very long. Azizi for Salim. Azizi couldn't get there, played well by Ottawa Hills. Nice ball for John Kite. Lorenzen just came out of the runner on the left. That's not what he wanted. Salim bombing it long and diagonal for Apanunu to chase after. O'Brien with him defensively. And O'Brien puts that behind. Corner.
yeah, it's tough. Not a lot O'Brien can do, because if he's too focused on trying to possess that ball, that's a lot of pressure you're inviting yourself on. I think he did well to kind of hold back Apanunu's run. You don't like wasting this time or giving up a corner kick, but I think that's probably the safest route. And speaking of safest route, St. John's is holding a lot of players back on this corner kick. They're probably concerned about Ottawa Hills' ability to counter quickly, but in the end, they're going to give them a chance to anyways, because ball served pretty much right to the goalkeeper, Graham Tunis. Yeah, we can hear Greg McElroy, coach of St. John's, talking about the corner kick. Sounds like it was an unintentional low-pressure corner kick, at least from the coaching staff.
It is nice on a day like this. You can kind of hear coaches' voices above the crowd, and every now and again, we'll stop for a moment just to hear what the talking point is and see if we were right.
Yeah.
That's Durst coming forward. Salim's the outlet, little bit different without Adel Kanan out there in the second half after taking that big knock at the end of the first.
Vicious call on the Salim for getting finally kind of caught for the handsiness. Like they call it, moving players with his hands instead of moving himself.
Right on halfway, this free kick pumped forward by Durant. Oof. Well, the delivery was spot on.
Yeah, I mean, who would have thought just direct at the goal, having balls drop just outside the 6 would be effective, but they really have today. If you send enough numbers right at it, you're kind of freezing the goalkeeper to get to it. Because really the only goalkeepers really quick enough to get to that ball are probably too short to get to that ball.
What we're going to do here is we're going to have it drop right to the edge of the 6. It's going to hop over the keeper and bounce in.
It bounce in. That's all we need.
And scene. Doyle couldn't get away from all of them. Off of Ayed. Salim backing up Will Birchback, who just checked back in. Danny Salim again. Oh, what a ball sweeping in. Ian Morton Wiskin, he roofs it.
And that was phenomenal target hold-up play, buying the time to get players forward. And we saw Ian kind of making the jogging run to get up here and over to wait for it. And a great finish under pressure. I mean, Ottawa Hills tried to slide across and defend him. They applied pressure. He was just equal to it then. That's a spectacular finish, though, high like that. I think that's a situation where you know the goalkeeper, that's where you got to finish it. And he only had so much space to finish as well because Ottawa Hills defenders did do a good job of coming over and trying to close him out the last second. It's a good recognition by that young man.
Ottawa Hills now 2 goals down with 12 minutes left. Drew Hoffman will come back in for the Green Bears.
Yeah, you can hear Coach Bear for Ottawa Hills trying to make sure they understand we're 2-4 down. You kind of play like it is probably the general thought process. Situational awareness, so important now, but even more important come playoffs.
Andrew Allen, the big target man, out there again for St. John's. If Jack Silk can get there. Cousin of Graham Tunis, the goalkeeper, by the way.
And it's not because Mason researches the family trees of all players.
We were told at halftime, which we appreciate very much. That would be some next-level stuff to be snooping on Ancestry.com or whatever.
I'm getting my $7.99's worth. Researching everybody. And no, yes, don't tweet me. I have no idea how much it costs to do
that 10-day free trial had to be good for something. Over the top for Will Scaff to chase after.
Dangerous, dangerous.
Tunis had to come out in a hurry because Allen wasn't far away.
Yeah, and it makes sense for Graham Tunis to hold on his line as he did because he had a defender out on Scaff. He had a defender out in front of Andrew Allen. He should hold as he did and then respond as quick as he did to come out for that ball.
Allen bouncing off of Birchback. Birchback a little bit quicker, and Allen took him out.
Yep. Obvious foul there. And I will say, too, the center official, I actually like this. He's doing a soft whistle. And that's very helpful if you've got lots of fields around, which today we really don't. I don't think anyone's playing baseball or softball next door, but you never know. But I do like the soft whistle. I think a lot of times, too, the fans don't realize he even blew the whistle. Even on a day like today that's so kind of open and quiet, it's hard to hear. There's been a couple times, but I only knew he blew his whistle by his mannerisms. But I have earphones on, and I'm in a press box.
True.
But as a player and a coach, I always hated hearing that whistle over and over again.
Oh, yeah, that's a push. A stray hand from Salim on Birchback.
Yeah, I think now Salim's in that situation where the officials are always looking at him to be hooking and holding because of a couple calls. So he's on the watch list for the next 10 minutes.
Spins out. And Isaac Michonne coming in. Garcia Mata to the bench. Low and away from St. John's. Allen the only man up there. Good play. Durst charging it down. Duran tried to play in Walker Kite. Don't think that was the ball he wanted. He immediately looked back at Duran. Durst get there? Nope. Ran out of real estate. Lucas Batdorf in for the Titans.
And Scaff was kind of hobbled after that last play, so that could either be a tactical sub or a. Let's check on Scaff, see how he is. Yep, and right to the athletic trainer. So yep, that's probably. Let's check on Will and see how he's doing. See if he needs a sit by count or not.
Morton Wisk get away. He can defend well. We've seen him play at left back at times this year, and he can also score. In fact, he scored in both games of St. John's that I've covered this year. Salim from a long way out. Jeez.
Yeah, and if you really looked how he struck that ball, you could tell he was trying to make that ball drop. Went a little wide in the end, but it wasn't just line up and whack the ball off the goal.
Yeah.
He was trying to do it with skill, get that ball to drop under pressure. Had two runners too, which is good in case it's saved by Tunis. Touch of skill before that to set that up.
It's a nice turn from Scott Davis. Good tackle from Davis.
Yeah, I think the insult to injury then was at the last. I think it went off Bavis twice, but I think it ended up, unfortunately for Ottawa Hills, going off of Walker Kite twice or three times. Or was that John Kite?
It was John Kite.
John Kite, yes. So it ends up being John was farther over on the right, so I couldn't see him beyond the window. There's Walker Kite knocking the ball down.
Broken up by Nick Biddle. Back a touch forward. That stayed in for Chase Lorenzen off the bench. Nifty little turn there from Danny Salim. We're trying to see a game out. Just bombing it long seems like a good idea.
It was 5 minutes left. If that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. You had Batdorf making the run up anyways, and at least he pulled Graham Tunis off his line. I think that's the important thing. Get him outside the 18, try and make something happen. Kind of feel a cross coming. There it is, but too far in advance. Salim was probably playing a little more defensively at this point due to score line. He was holding back a little bit, staying in shape. He kind of felt that was coming, though. Joey's going to find his space and put a nice diagonal ball in, but a little too deep.
Walker Kite trying to hold it up. Kite Toe poke forward for John Kite. There's the cross, back post. Couldn't quite find Jack Silk.
Good little build-up and good work by Walker Kite in the center of the field.
That's good skill from Silk, and Walker Kite couldn't put it on frame.
Yeah, it's so tough. You're trying to kind of pull your hip back just a little bit to spray it across your body. Ends up, kind of feel like you usually panic. You feel like you're going to miss it, so you kind of short it a little bit. That's what he did, put it to the near post.
Nothing given either way, just a throw in.
Clock was stopped for some reason, which in the end, if they fix it, it's okay. If not, the referee can decide if he needs to worry about it. Because at this point, if it stays 2 in advance, it's not going to hurt anyone if they get extra 20 seconds in. Now, if you're shortening the game, that'll be a problem. You can't fix that.
The Green Bears think somebody may have lost a shin guard. Yeah, it was Ian Morton Wisgen who did. Salim. Forward for Allen. Allen cutting inside. Here's Salim. And Azizi. Complete miss kick there from him. Maybe it was too routine of an opportunity for him after that volley we saw last week.
Yeah, it was too choppy, kind of broken up into little parts, and you go from going nice and slow to trying to rush yourself.
Nice touch from Allen. It's a low shot, wide. John McConaughey.
And that was a nice job by Allen, just the one touch. Kind of old school big target, lay that ball off. Almost like a passing wall that moves, a rebound wall.
Two and a half remaining. Kind of petered out a little bit after the Ian Morton Wisgen goal. Made it 4-2. Kanashi goes long. Allen the only guy up there.
It was a great job on the sideline. It was Jack O'Brien on the far side. Keep Andrew Allen off him. Keep the ball in bounds as well. Turn it, get it upfield. Under pressure.
That's the kind of matchup that if you're somebody like Ottawa Hills, it's win-win. You either get another win over a really talented Division I team, and in case you needed any more street cred, let's say, in D3,
yes.
You certainly get it.
Yeah.
And even if you don't, you learn a thing or two about yourselves and what
Yeah.
you may need to improve on going forward, and it doesn't hurt your number one ranking in D3. Nobody's going to drop you down the pole for losing to a program like St. John's.
Except for the coach that's number 2. He'll probably go
yes.
first up. But no, in all
true.
seriousness, no, you're right. And then also, it's hard to find your weaknesses if you're playing a lot of, for a D3 team generally in this area, it's hard to find where your weaknesses are if you're always playing, I should say always because they don't, but if a lot of your games are against teams that only have 1, 2, 3, 4 really good players and they have their weaknesses in their field too. You get to a D1 program that has numerous athletes all over the field, whether they're skilled soccer players or not, they're at least athletes all over. On top of it, so often in their conference play for Ottawa Hills especially, they're going to be going up against teams that might be a battle because of a few strong players, but you don't learn that much about yourself in that situation. So, I mean, they've always done this. It's been great. I still remember back the day when people wouldn't play him. I think that's what Greg McElroy went through when he was coaching here at Ottawa Hills. No D1 teams wanted to play him because they were in a lose-lose in their mind. See off the uprights again.
Walker Kite. And if you're St. John's, it's a great win that certainly is something that will stand up when it comes time for that seeding meeting.
Yep, no, absolutely. And you get a great game without having to travel 3 hours because you're playing all the best of D1s already. And, Ottawa Hills, I don't know how Ottawa Hills does it. I mean, yes, they lose 2-4, but I look down this roster, I'm like, they're going to be good again next year, and they got a great senior class they're losing. How do they keep doing this? They keep doing it every year. I don't get it.
2 goals from Joey Apanunu for St. John's, 1 each from Cameron Doyle, and an outstanding finish from Ian Morton-Wisgen, 2 for John Kite for the Green Bears of Ottawa Hills. So St. John's now 6-2-1. Ottawa Hills their first loss on the season, 7-1-1. Chris Black, final thoughts.
Yeah, I think on the St. John's side, they had some lackluster moments, but they survived the day. Had some great moments as well. They're going to need to keep working on those types of things, but they're probably extremely happy to get a quality win like this today. On the Ottawa Hills side, I'm sure they learned a lot of things. They're excited, hopefully get a couple guys back shortly, which is going to be even more important to them. But to be fair, you look at their schedule the rest of the way, they got some really good games. They're more likely to win their league. It's not a given, but they've done it 6 out of the last 7 years. But they're getting ready for the tournament. And by the quality of this team here, if they get healthy, they could be booking the hotel rooms in Columbus again.
There you have it. Big win for St. John's and a decent performance, too, from Ottawa Hills. Your final score, St. John's 4, Ottawa Hills 2. For Chris Black and our crew, Mason Lowry saying so long from Ottawa Hills. Have a great rest of your weekend, everybody. Bye for now.